Hey everybody, and welcome to Ages Cozy Crochet Corner. So today we're going to do a C2C. I'm going to show how to begin it and increase it, and then we'll do the decrease. Now I just got finished making a baby blanket. Here it goes. So I was making a C2C baby blanket because a very special friend of mine had a baby, and I just love this couple so much, and I wanted to do something nice for them. So I made the baby blanket and the whole set, and I'm like, you got to make a lovely. So we're going to use the lovely to make use it as a swatch to show you how to do the C2C. I also will be showing you the border along with it, and yeah, that's about it. So we're going to sit down and work on this lovely. Lovely, they're not that big, they're like 12 by 12, so I figured that was a good amount to show you increase and the decrease. So we're going to get right to the table. I'm going to show you what we need, and let's make it lovely. Okay, everybody. Before we get into making our C2C swatch, I wanted to show you the colors I'm using. This is Caron 1 pound, and the color is peach. And this one is Red Heart Super Saver, and the color is our persimmon. So I love both of these, and together, as you see from the larger C2C baby blanket, it came out really, really nice. If you want to know the size of the baby one that I did, the I will put the measurements in the description box, so you can go there to check out how big the baby one is. We're going to be making a smaller sample of that. I'm actually going to use this swatch to create a lovely doll, so you can look for the next part of the video where I will show you how to make the pieces for that. So for just so you know, I made a whole baby set with two of these, and I think I'll use about 1.5 of these all together. So yeah, I'm gonna move this out the way because I will not be adding this in until the border. So I will show you how to put a nice border, actually the same border that I put on the larger baby blanket. So we're gonna get right into this. Now, as far as hooks, I'm using the recommended hook for both of these, and they both are medium 4 yarns, and they both call for a 5mm hook. So that is what I'm using today. Other than that, you're going to need scissors, yarn needle to weave in your ends later on, and a measuring tape. For our lovely doll, we'll be doing 12 by 12. So we'll be doing 12 by 12. So let's get started. Okay. So to start our C2C, and I want to leave enough on to weave in later on my ends. Now we're going to be chaining 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now we're going to yarn over. We're going to skip 1, 2, and 3. And into the 4th chain from the hook, we're going to go in and make a double crochet. Okay, so this chain 3 now stands as a double crochet, and then we have another one here. So we're going to yarn over, and into our next stitch, we're going to make another double crochet. And we're going to yarn over once again, and in our last chain, we're going to make another double crochet. So you should have the 3 double crochets and the chain 3 that stands as a double crochet. So now we're going to chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now the same thing we did here, we're going to do here. We're going to yarn over, skip 1, 2, and 3, and in the 4th chain from the hook, we're going to make a double crochet. Yarn over again, and in the next one, we're going to make a double crochet. Yarn over again, and the last chain right there, we're going to make another double crochet. So this is how it should look right now. All right? Okay, so we have our piece like this. So we're going to take and we're going to flip it just like that. Okay? So again, our pieces look like this. And we're going to flip this just like that. And now we're going to take this chain 3 space and we're going to slip stitch in there. Now once we've slip stitched in here, now we can build and finish our second row. Now we're going to 1, 2, and 3, chain 3. And we're going right back into this space and we're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And we have our first and our second row completed. So now we're going to chain up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yarn over. We're going to go into the 4th chain from the hook and make a double crochet. And the next one, make a double crochet. And the next one, double crochet. Now we'll take this piece, it should look like this, and we're going to spin this around the same way we did with the first piece, and we're going to slip stitch in here. I'm going to go up 1, 2, and 3, and now we'll be creating 3 double crochets into this space. Yarn over, and we have 1, 2, and 3. And now we will be slip stitching into the chain 3 space here. Okay. And now we'll chain up 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, and in this chain 3 space here, we're going to be putting 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to chain up 6 again. Now, as you see, before we do that, we had our first row, our second row, and now this is our 3rd row complete. So we're moving on to the 4th, and to begin every row, you know, we chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to yarn over, and in the 4th chain from the hook, going to make our first double crochet. The next one, our second double crochet, and the last one, our 3rd double crochet. And now our work should look like this. We're just going to flip this part up, and we're going to slip stitch this into that first chain 3 space, slip stitch. Now we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. Going to yarn over and go into the chain 3 space and make 3 double crochets. 2, and 3. Now we're going to slip stitch into this chain 3 space. And we're going to chain 3 again. And we're going to put 3 double crochet into this chain 3 space. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to slip stitch into this chain 3 space. And we're going to chain 3. And into this chain 3 space, we're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And row 4 is done. Row 5, we're going to chain 6 again. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Into the 4th chain from the hook, we're going to place a double crochet. And the next one, another double crochet. And the next one, another double crochet. Our work looks like this. We're going to flip this up. And put it together with our slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 3. And in this chain 3 space, we're going to put another 3 double crochet. And we're going to slip stitch into this chain 3 space. And we're going to chain up 3. Yarn over and into this same space, we're going to make our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch into this chain 3 space. And chain up 3. And put our 3 double crochets into that same space. And now we're going to go and slip stitch into the next one. And chain 3. And into that same space, we're going to put our 3 double crochets. And 3. Now, I want to pause for a moment and look at it. So, as you see on the build up, we chain 6 at the beginning of every row. Okay? And then once we have flipped, we start attaching them like stair steps going up, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the 4th chain from the hook, we start making our doubles. 1 double, the next one 2, and the next one 3. Our work always looks like this. We flip over and join it with a slip stitch. And now we 1, 2, 3 chain, and in that same area we're going to place 3 double crochets. So the build, and you'll keep doing this until you get it. We're trying to go to 12 inches. We're nowhere near 12 inches yet. but we're going to go to 12 inches. So we're going to keep building this. I'm going to start 12 here until this thing is 12 inches tall. Okay. And if you're making, just say you're making a bigger blanket, then you're really just going to keep going until you achieve the size that you want. So now we're going to go into the chain 3 space and slip stitch. And 1, 2, 3, and back into the same space and put 3 double crochet. And then slip stitch into the next space. Right there, always in that chain 3 space that we create. And go 1, 2, 3 chains, and then 3 double crochets back into that same space. And we're going to slip stitch into this chain 3 space to bring it together. And chain up 3. And then go right back into that chain 3 space and make our 3 double crochets. And slip stitch into our last space in that row, chain up 3, and then we're going to go right back into that space with our 3 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 6 because we're beginning a new row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the 4th chain from the hook, we're going to start making our doubles. And another double, just the second one, and the 3rd one, and the last. And then we're just going to flip our work. If it becomes more easy for you just to flip the one piece, I'm just showing you on this end to stay consistent, so you don't think I'm doing something else. We just flip the piece so where the chain 3 areas are on the top. Mm-hmm. 2 and 3, yarn over, and we're going to go in here 3 times with double crochets. And slip stitch into the chain 3 space here. And 1, 2, 3 chains. And go right back in that space and put 3 double crochets. And now we're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. And chain 3. Going right back into that space and putting 3 double crochets. It's like walking up the steps. Now we're going to go back into this chain. We're going to go into this chain 3 space and slip stitch, chain our 3, and go right back into it and put our 3 double crochets. Next one, I'm gonna slip in there and chain 3 and go right back in and put our 3 double crochets. And now we're going to slip stitch into the last one in that row, chain up 3, and make our 3 double crochets into that same space. Okay. So you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows already. So we should have 7 rows here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So as you see, the same amount you have here, you'll have here. All right. So we're going to keep going until we get to our 12 inches. And then I'm going to show you how to decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3. And then the fourth one from the hook, we start making our 3 doubles in the next 3 stitches. And again, we're going to flip and add this here with a slip stitch. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over and put 3 double crochets into that same space. Slip stitch to the next space, chain 3, and inside this space we're going to put our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch to the next space, chain 3, and put our 3 double crochets. Okay, so again, we're going to keep going till I get to the 12, my 12 inches, whatever size blanket you want to make. You can Google and find out crochet blanket sizes if you want to go with exact numbers, and you'll find a size for the amount of inches for any blanket that you want to make. And that's how we're going to build it up. And once we get to the height we want, even if you're not using actual numbers and you're just eyeballing it, or, you know, however you're deciding to size it, once you get to the size you want, we'll come back in and I'll show you how to do the decrease. Okay, so I have finished. I've made 13 rows, and 13 rows takes me to my 12 inches. Okay, so my 13 rows takes me to my 12 inches, and that is going to be the height for me for this my C2C project. So now we have to do the decrease, or how we're going to bring it in. Now the blanket will not get any bigger or any wider at this point. It will not get any taller, and it will not get any wider. We're just basically going to be ending it off like that. So once I am finished my last row, where I know that's where I want my height to be, I'm going to chain just 1. Okay, chain 1. Now I am going to actually flip my work. All right, I chained 1 and turned my whole piece. So now we have here the tops of the doubles, 1, 2, and 3, and here go our chain 1 space is on this side. We want to do 1 single crochet in each one of the each top of the doubles, so that should be 3. So we're going to go into that first space, and we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next space. We're going to put another single crochet, and on top of that third double crochet, we're going to put a single crochet. Okay, so once we have done that, now we have to start coming back down here. We're going to chain 1, 2, and 3. All right, I'm going to turn it this way because we're going this way. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to go into this chain 3 space with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we chained one. When we got to where we wanted to end, we went into each of the 3 double crochets with a single crochet, and then we chained 3. So once you've done that, you see we have our next chain 3 space. We're going to slip stitch there, and we're going to make our 3 chain 3, and we're going to go into this space and make 3 double crochets. Now, as far as what we do here, that's not going to change. You see, we just did this just as we have been doing them. The only thing that changes is that end. So now we're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space and chain 3. And into the chain 3 space, we're going to make 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. Slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain up 3, and go back into that chain 3 space and put 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. And here we're going to slip stitch onto that chain 3 space, chain up 3, and go back into that chain 3 space and put 3 double crochets. So next one, we're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain up 3, then we're going to go back into that space and put our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain up 3, and go back into that same chain 3 space and put our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain up 3, and go into that space with 3 double crochets. Again, we're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain up 3, then go back in that same space and put our 3 double crochets. Slip and stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain up 3, and go back in that space and make our 3 double crochets. Going to slip stitch into our next chain 3 space, chain up 3, and make our 3 double crochets in the same space. Slip stitch to our next one, chain 3 space, chain up 3, and go back in that space and make our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain up 3, and go back into that space and make our 3 double crochets. Now here, last one in that row, we're going to slip stitch there. And now we're not building rows anymore, so when we come to the last one in that row, we want to chain 1, turn your work. Now the same thing we did to begin, we're going to do 1 single crochet into these 3 double crochets, the top of them. So we're going to go in the first one and make a single crochet, the next one and make a single crochet, and the third one and make a single crochet. Now we have our chain 3 space here. We want to chain 1, 2, 3. Okay, turn our work, so we're going back up the steps. So we're going to go into this chain 3 space and put our 3 double crochets. So as you see, the only thing that has changed is how we end our rows and how we begin our rows. Okay, so we're gonna walk through that again, and from here on out, the number of blocks that we have in each row will decrease in every row, just as in the beginning it increased, and every from row to row it will now start to decrease. So we're gonna walk together hand by hand through some more of these beginning and ends. So remember, the middle part is the same. We slip stitch, chain 3, yarn over, and in that same space we're going to put 3 double crochets. Slip stitch into the next one, chain 3, and in that same space, that chain 3 space, we're going to put our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch together, chain up 3, and go into the same space and make our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, chain 3, and in the same space 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, chain 3, and in the same space we're making our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, chain up 3, and we're making our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, chain 3, and in the same space we're making our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, chain 3, and we're making our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, chain 3, and in that same area our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, chain 3, and in the same area 3 double crochets. slip stitch, chain 3. Now be mindful that you don't go past that. Put your 3 double crochets in, and then this is the last one in this row. We're not increasing anymore, we're decreasing, so we're just going to slip stitch into this chain 3, slip stitch, chain 1, and turn your work. And now we're going to place 1 single crochet on the top of each of the 3 double crochets, right? So we're going to put 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and into the third one 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and then chain 1, 2, 3. And we're going to turn our work like this, so we have the steps going up, and as you can see, we have our edge now forming. Now we're going to go right into the chain 3 space and make 3 double crochets. Into the chain 3 space, we're going to slip stitch, chain up 3, and make our 3 double crochets. Chain up 3, go inside same space and put our 3 double crochets. Slip stitch, go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then go inside here the same space and put our 3 double crochets. So as you see, this gets very repetitive. The middle part again does not change. We're doing the same thing we were doing on our increase. The only thing that changes are our beginnings and our endings. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep working to our ending so we can look at our ending and our beginning yet again. So this is a very relaxing, in my opinion, project. It's one of those projects where it's so repetitious that you don't have to think about it. You just keep doing the same thing over and over. And I think this is the first time I actually used a chart for to make this piece, going off of dimensions. I usually just make it as big as I want. If I'm making it for the bed, I throw it over the bed to see till I get the sizing that I want, the length that I want, and then I start decreasing. It's really fun, and you can really play around with colors, but I want to keep to the baby blanket that I was making, and not mix around too much with colors this time. Okay. Now I'm at my last one in that row. So slip stitch, chain up 3, and then I'm going to place my 3 double crochets in that space. Now again, we're at the end of our decrease, so we're going to slip stitch into that chain 3, chain 1, and then turn our work. Now again, we'll be placing a single crochet in the first stitch, single crochet into the second stitch, and single crochet into the third stitch, and then chain 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work so where you can see the steps going up, and into that first space with that chain 3, you're going to put 3 double crochets. Slip stitch into the next space, chain 3, and keep putting in your doubles until you reach 3 into that same space. Slip stitch into the next space, chain 3, we put our 3 double crochets in, slip stitch into the next space, chain 3, and put our 3 double crochets in. So I'm going to work till I get here, and I'm going to show you one last time how it looks to do the ending and the beginning of the row again. And then you're just going to finish this out until you get down to just one square, because each row decreases. Okay, now I am on my last one. So I'm going to slip stitch into there, chain up 3, go back into that same space and put my 3 double crochet. Now I'm going to slip stitch into this chain 3, and then chain 1, and turn my work. And then I'm going to put 1 single crochet into the second single crochet and the third single crochet along top there, and then chain 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to turn my work so where the steps are going this way, and we're going to go inside that first space with 3 double crochets. Slip stitch into this chain 3, chain up 3, and then keep going out. So you're going to do that. You're going to do that, and as you see, you can see how it is already shrinking. So you're going to do that back and forth until you get to the last block. I'm going to go back and forth and work that last block with you as well. Okay, so I am now to the end here. I'm going to slip stitch into my chain 3, chain 1, and turn my work. And then go into the next 3 stitches with 1 single crochet each. chain 1, 2, and 3, and this is my last block. So my last block is going to end off by going into that chain 3 space with my 3 double crochet. And then we're going to slip stitch right into this chain 3 space. And I'm not cutting off, but that is it. That's it. So if you're going to put a border on your piece, before you do your border, you should go around the whole piece with single crochets. Okay, so I tend not to end off my yarn here. I'm going to continue on chaining 1, and I'm going to make my single crochets all around my piece as soon as I finish. Now, if you're changing colors or you want this, even if this was multicolored, I would still use one color to go around. So if you're changing the color and you want to do a different color than the color you're using, then you would just end off and come back on wherever you want to be. Okay, because the whole blanket is done. We just need to add our single crochets for our border. So each one of these spaces is going to get 1 single crochet. I try to keep mine in the multiples of 3 as close as I can, especially when I know what kind of border I want to put on. Okay, so this chain 1 counts for nothing. I'm going to go into the open chain 3 space in every chain 3 space, and I'm just going to put 2 single crochets in that space. Now these are already single crochets, so I'm going to go right in there and just put another single crochet. Now this space right here, which is our slip stitch space, I'm going to go inside there and put 1 single crochet. Okay, and so I have 2 in this space, 1 on top of each of the previous single crochets, so that's 3, and then 1 inside of the slip stitch space, so that's 6. Okay, so I try to keep in multiples of 3 because that's how the whole project is worked, and I don't want to worry about it being too bunched up or too either too bunched up or too wholly around the ends. Not 1 and 2, and then in this single crochet I'm going to place another single crochet, and this single crochet I'm going to place another one, and in this one, and in my chain 3 in my slip stitch space I'm going to place a single crochet. So 2 single crochets in my chain 3 space, 1 on top of each of the single crochets from the previous row, and 1 into my slip stitch space. Okay, and I'm going to go to the end like that. And the slip stitch space, and slip stitch space. Now corners, I am stopping here on a chain 3 space, so I'm going to put my 2 in there. I am then going to chain 1, turn my work around, and now I'm going to continue on putting one single crochet around here. Now, if you notice, as you turn your work, you're at different angles of your piece. So on this, on this side, I'm going to be putting one double crochet at the bottom of each one of my, one single crochet at the bottom of each one of my doubles. And then I have a double here. I'm going to be putting two here, but one into this portion right here. So one at the top of the double and two inside the double. And I'll do that again. So I'm putting one at the bottom of each one of my doubles. Two and three. And the top of this double, I'm going to put one there. And then I'm going to put two inside the double crochet. And that's how I'm going to keep it on this angle. Because when we turn it again, we'll have a different angle of our work. So I'm going to work that all the way to the corner. So one single crochet at the bottom of the doubles, one in the top of the double, two at the side, again one at the bottom of the doubles, two at the top, and so I hope this is helping someone, because everyone always asks, I've gotten asked that question a lot. Where do you know how to place your, when you're making stitches like this, how do you know where to place it? And I guess after time, everyone figures out where they like to place it. If you have a rhythm for how you do yours, but someone might not have a rhythm, and hopefully this can kind of help you a little bit. Especially with the C2C, where the angles change at every angle, every turn. So I'm going to, back at my corner, I'm going to chain one on my corner and turn my work. All right, so this one, again, I'm going to just place one single crochet at the end of the doubles that are already there. One double was here on the corner, so I placed it right there, and then two and three. And now for this portion, the double is turned to this side, so I'm going to go in there two times, one and two, and then I'm going to go through the top of that same double here. Okay, so I'm going to go at the bottom of the double crochets, inside the double crochet, turn to its side, and inside the top of that same double crochet. And I'm going to carry that out all the way to the end. Now I'm at the end, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work. Well, turn as in just turn that way. I don't want you to think I flipped it over. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3 tops of my double crochets, my 3 double crochets, and into the chain 1 space I will be going 2 times, and into the slip stitch space I'll be going once. So it's all the same thing, it's just at different angles of it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and the slip stitch space is here. So I'll be going like this all the way to the end. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and the slip stitch space. 1, 2, and 3, 2, into the chain 3 space, and the slip stitch space gets 1. All right. I'm coming up to this corner, so 1 and 2. I'm going to chain 1 here and turn this way. Now I begin here, so I only have to do up till then. So I'm going to go back in here once, and on the tops of these 3 doubles. Now I'm going to take and slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet that I made. I'm going to cut my yarn and pull that through. Now I am done the blanket portion. Now I just have to make my border. And then you see that it looks with the border on it. Now I'll be able, well, with this simple border around it, I'll be able to add on my other border with no difficulty at all. All right, so the border that I'm planning on putting on here is like a rolling, I call it a rolling shell, because it looks like shell stitches that are rolling. It does not matter where I begin. I am going to just begin in the middle somewhere. So you're gonna add on your yarn anywhere, okay, and chain 3. Okay, chain 3. Now once I chain my 3, I kind of want to pull it to the back. You see I chain my 3 here. I want to pull it to the back, and I want to count back 1 where I am. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stitches back. and I want to slip stitch that on there, okay? And then I'm going to take and chain 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to turn it back this way. And our shells have 7 double crochets in it. This right here, this chain 3, counts for that first of the 7. So we have to go back in here and put 6 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now that I have my 6, I want this to fan and down and be held down like that. Okay. So we're going to skip 1, 2 spaces. Okay. 1, 2, and then the third one, I'm just going to anchor this down with a slip stitch. So that's going to be how it looks. Isn't that beautiful with the pink and the peach? Okay. So now chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now again, we're kind of going to look behind this, and we're going to go back 1, 2, and 3, which is going to be the same stitch that I secured that in. Okay, we're going to go behind that stitch where I secured this down. We're going behind it. Grab our yarn and slip stitch through. Now we're going to be chaining up 1, 2, 3 again. Turn it around. Now just simply place this one down to get to this chain 3 space, and we're going to go in there 6 times with double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to skip 1, 2 spaces. Remember, do not count the space we're in. We're going to the next space and saying 1 and 2, and we're going to slip stitch into this third space and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I simply want you to turn it back again, and where we slip stitched here, I want you to place your hook behind it and slip stitch again, and chain 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work back around, put your shell down, and go back into that chain 3 space. We just anchor down and put your 6 double crochets. 5 and 6. Again, we're going to skip 1, 2, and 3 and slip stitch. Chain 1, 2, and 3, and turn your work to the back. Where you slip stitched at before, the last place, go behind there, grab your yarn and slip stitch again. Chain 1, 2, and 3, turn your work back around, put down your shell so you can see that chain 3, you just secure it down, and go in there 6 times with double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and then the third one, we're going to anchor that down. Chain 1, 2, 3. Turn your work to the back. Go behind your last slip stitch and slip stitch again. chain up 1, 2, and 3, turn the work to the front, yarn over, and we're going to put our 6 double crochets into that area. Oops, did I make too many? Nope, not enough. One more. And now we're going to skip 1, 2, and in the 3rd stitch we're going to anchor this down. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Turn to the back of your work. Put your hook behind your last slip stitch and slip stitch again. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work back around and work into that chain 3 space 6 double crochets. So all it is making shells. I call this the rolling shells because they look like they're rolling. Skip 1, 2, and in the 3rd one, 1, 2, 3, up, turn it to the back, go behind the last slip stitch, grab your yarn and pull through and slip stitch in the back. Chain up 1, 2, and 3. Turn it to the front, and then you're going to make your 6 double crochets inside that space. Now, one thing I love about doing this is I don't have to worry about my corners, because you're just going to keep going all the way around. 1, 2, skip, and the 3rd one, 1, 2, 3, turn your work over, go behind your last slip stitch and slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, turn your work back over and go in here and put 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're at our corner, so we're going to go skip 1, 2, and in our 3rd one, slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, chains up, turn our work, go behind the last slip stitch and slip stitch again, 1, 2, 3, chains, and make our 6 double crochet right into that created space. Four, 5, and 6. And then we're going to anchor this down 1, 2, and in the 3rd one we're anchoring this down. Now that's how it's going to go around the corner, so you don't even have to worry about the corners. You're just going to carry it all the way out. Now, as you see, it kind of works in multiples of 3. You see when I put the border on there, I tried to keep in multiples of 3. But if your count is off and you don't have multiples of 3 going on here, then you can always skip a stitch or two. No, skip a stitch here or there, and it really won't make a difference. You won't notice it. I'll do a skip of a stitch just to show you what I mean when I say skip a stitch somewhere. So let's go 1, 2, 3, and let's go to the back and put this in the back of that and slip stitch on our slip stitch, chain 1, 2, and 3, turn it to the front, and let's put our 6 into the created space, our 6 double crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're supposed to skip 1, 2, and go into the slip stitch into the third one. But say you have to skip more than that, then just go into the fourth one. Okay, so 1, 2, we're supposed to go into the third one, but go into the fourth one if you need to, if you have too much space. And as you can see, it does not take away from anything. It's not going to bend, it's not going to buckle it. So if you're counting, or I usually don't worry about it until I usually don't worry about it until I'm coming up around here. Then I usually count my stitches to see if I need to make up any space. But you can count the single crochets to see if you are going to need to do what I just showed you how to do. And that's just in case you need to eliminate an extra space or two. And like I said, it takes nothing away. And I'm going to go right back to doing it how I'm supposed to be doing it. Chaining 3, going behind my work, and slip stitching behind the slip stitch, the last slip stitch that I did. Chaining 3, turn my work back around, and putting 6 double crochets into the chain 3 space we've just created. So you can go around your whole project like this, and I'm going to come back in on my last shell and show you how to secure your last shell down. One, two, and then the third one. Yes, I'm going to go all the way around, and I'll come back in and show you how to place the last one down. Okay? Okay, so I have gotten back around to the last shell. So once I made my last shell, I want to lay it, of course we're skipping the 2 stitches here. I want to lay it in the front. Okay? So I'm actually going to go inside the hole. Before we were just going on that slip stitch, but I'm actually going to go inside that hole that slip stitch is coming from, and I'm going to go and slip stitch this one in there, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to cut a good enough amount off, and I'm just going to pull it through, and that's it. I'll weave that in, and that is the completed C2C with the border. And that's it. So the only thing left to do would be to weave in the 2 ends here, this one, well, 3 ends. Okay, so I'm gonna take my yarn needle, and I'm gonna thread in my little leftovers, and I'm going to just put it in here and weave this back and forth a few times. Zigzagging, just going in multiple spaces around the same area. And you're just going to do that as many times as you feel secure. Because it was rather long, I'm just going in as many times as I think is necessary. And then I'm just gonna cut this off of here, and I will do the same to all these other pieces. But that is it. That is going to be the end of this tutorial for this piece. Now I'm gonna take this piece and we're gonna put a little teddy bear on it right here, little arms and little ears on our teddy bear. So if you want to see the next part of this video, I'm gonna post another video just to show how to make all of the pieces to put on this lovely. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and weave in my last end, and I'll see you on the next video if you want to see that. And at the end of that video, I think I'll post the whole baby set that I have completed, because this will complete that piece. So as always, thank you for coming and creating with me and watching with me. I always enjoy you guys. I'll see you in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And check me out on my other social media sites on Instagram and Facebook. And other than that, I guess we'll see you guys in the comment section. Until then. All right.